I want to show off my new poster just a little bit. I got a comment or two about my background being a little too kind of horror themed, so I get the Aladdin poster. Anyway, onto my video. Today's video is brought to you by the Olive Garden. Have you tried their never-ending pasta bowl? It never ends. I'm talking today, of course, about Sonic, the movie that, I don't know why, but whenever I finish it, I'm hungry for Olive Garden. Sonic the Hedgehog was released in 2020. Now, the movie was actually ready to be released last year in 2019, but after fans complained about the look of Sonic, they postponed the movie in order to make some changes. Sonic definitely came out looking better, which is a good thing, but they didn't necessarily fix everything. For one thing, I think they probably should have also changed Sonic's voice. Now, to be clear, I think that the voice actor, Ben Schwartz, did a good job at conveying Sonic's overall energy and attitude. I think he sounds too old. I guess I was expecting Sonic to sound more like the cartoon from the mid-90s. Sonic's actions and behavior are just so adolescent that I expect him to sound a little more like a kid, I guess. Having the voice actor be an older man it just took me out of the moment. They pulled off Tails. At the end of the movie, Tails has a little cameo, and I think the voice actor who played him was definitely younger, and I think that would have also worked better with Sonic. Anyway, let's get on with the movie. We start off with scenes showing Sonic's home in what I assume to be the Emerald Hills. It's filled with all kinds of familiar Sonic landscapes. You know, paths that lead to loop-de-loops and ramps. And it was very exciting visuals, especially from a Sonic fan. Sonic ends up getting kind of run out of his home by these little bad guys. They kind of look like Knuckles. Sonic's guardian Longclaw ends up giving him a bag of rings, and the rings act as like little portals that kind of take you into other worlds. He ends up coming to Earth in a little town called Green Hills. Get it? Green Hills? Yeah, I don't think that anybody missed that one. Sonic ends up hiding on Earth for years, and he spends his time kind of spying on the locals in this small town. One of the people he ends up spying on is Tom. Tom is the local cop with a soft spot for animals and donuts. Another one of the locals is Carl, a crazy local who's kind of onto Sonic. He tries to convince everybody in town about Sonic's existence, but of course they think he's crazy. And we get one really short scene of Carl actually trying to catch Sonic, but he ends up getting caught up in his own traps. And I thought this was like a really funny moment. I really wish they would have explored this crazy Carl character. Remember that squirrel from Ice Age? The movie was never about the squirrel, but several scenes with the squirrel were kind of scattered throughout the movie, and it was always like a fun departure, kind of like little mini adventures within the movie as a whole. Well, I feel like this crazy Carl character should have gotten the same treatment. I think it would have been really fun to have like random moments of Carl trying to capture Sonic and then kind of getting caught in his own traps, kind of like a whole Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote dynamic between the two characters. But we never got that. We got one little scene with Carl, and that was it. Real missed potential, I think. The FBI is also onto Sonic, and they end up hiring this evil genius, Dr. Robotnik, to try to capture him. Enter Jim Carrey, the reason I was willing to give this movie a shot in the first place. And let me tell you, I was so happy to see Jim Carrey come back to slapstick and come back to the character acting that he did so well that made him famous in the first place. I've hated seeing Jim Carrey recently talk about, the Illuminati or becoming like a weird painter. Like, I just keep thinking, you're Ace Ventura. Would you calm down? So it's just so great seeing the old Jim Carrey actually come back to reprise his role in these just crazy slapstick characters. I mean, every scene with Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik is just hilarious. And I heard in an interview with Jim Carrey that no line from the script made it into the movie. He just ad-libbed and improvised the entire role. And you know what? I am okay with that, because the result is just some genuinely funny Jim Carrey moments. I mean, this is what he does best. I actually think it would have been a really good idea to have Jim Carrey do the voice of Sonic. He does so many voices and impressions that I'm sure he could have pulled off something that was much better than what we got. I also really liked Dr. Robotnik's sidekick, Agent Stone. This dynamic between the two of them is also hilarious. The whole funny man, straight man dynamic between the two of them, it just works so well, and it really makes Jim Carrey shine. Agent Stone is kind of this younger, professional character. He kind of reminds me like an intern for a tech company, kind of real eager and very loyal to Dr. Robotnik, even though he himself is like really practical and kind of straightforward kind of a person. The two of them, just trust me, they're hilarious together. So Sonic ends up revealing himself to Tom, so now the two of them are, friends, I guess. So when Dr. Robotnik finally tracks down Sonic, Tom and Sonic need to work together to escape. So this point in the movie, we pretty much have all the pieces kind of fitting together. We've got Dr. Robotnik with his sidekick, Agent Stone, and we've got Sonic with Tom, kind of working together to escape. And at this point, I feel like it would have been nice to kind of pull away from the real world, and maybe Sonic would use his rings to teleport to another world. This is like a fantasy movie from a video game world, but we don't get to see enough of the video game world. We saw the scene in the very beginning of the movie, and that was it. So this would have been a really good opportunity to bring the movie to the place that I guess I was expecting to see. I mean, can you imagine? Sonic uses the ring to go back to Longclaw to ask for help. But of course, he leaves behind one of the rings, and Dr. Robotnik follows him. Dr. Robotnik ends up befriending all those little bad guys from the beginning. Sonic, Tom, and Longclaw need to combine their forces, and we have a big epic battle. That's not what happens, though. Instead, we get Sonic and Tom going to a bar where Sonic fools everybody with this ingenious costume. We get a chase scene on a freeway, which, in all honesty, is kind of cool. But, I mean, wouldn't this scene be so much cooler if they were back in the original world, driving their cars around the loop-de-loops and going over ramps? Yeah, that'd be a lot cooler. But that's not what we get. They end up making their way to San Francisco, which is kind of cool. I'm from the Bay Area, so whenever a movie takes place in a city in the Bay Area, it's always exciting to me to kind of see it. In this situation, though, I think because I was so excited about seeing the whole video game world, I just wasn't as excited about seeing the Bay Area as I would typically be. Well, by the end of the movie, Sonic ends up using the teleportation rings to teleport Dr. Robotnik to the Mushroom Kingdom. Get it? The Mushroom Kingdom. Yeah, I don't think anybody missed that one either. Good guys win, bad guys lose. Typical ending to a kids movie. I may not have liked this movie as much as, what I've been hearing and what I've been seeing on other YouTube videos. But, I mean, the movie wasn't terrible. By the end, it's got some serious potential. If only some of that potential could have been made in the maybe the middle of the movie, and then it maybe would have had a better ending. But, I'm looking forward to the sequel. Dr. Robotnik ends up kind of losing all of his sanity, and he starts to become a much more familiar character. And like I said earlier, we get a cameo from Tails. So we've definitely got a good recipe for a good sequel. And who knows, this may be one of those situations where the sequel is better than the first one. Maybe I'll go watch the sequel this time in the theaters. I can't remember the last time I watched a video game movie in theaters. Usually video game movies suck, so I avoid them. I think I watched Warcraft. I watched Warcraft in theaters, and that was also pretty bad. Tell me what you think. In particular about Sonic's voice. I know everybody, including me, is very happy with how Sonic looks, but what about his voice? I've been hearing a lot of good things about his voice, and I'm just not sold on it. Like I said, too old. I don't want that raspy voice of a man coming through my Sonic. I like him to be a little more kid, I guess. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching. Now don't be afraid to give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe down below. That way you can keep up to date on what I'm watching. Subscriptions, by the way, are absolutely free. And until next time, let's not just watch movies. Let's talk about them too.